The problem and the dilemma is that only certain people have access to clean water, to clean food, to clean air, to healthy environments, to a stabilized community with love and compassion around them. And each and every one of us have to have an individual natural alignment within ourselves, within our minds, our hearts, our spirit, our bodies. We have to know that those four aspects of who we are is directly tied into the four elements that composes our being, which is the water, the fire, the air, and the earth.
Welcome, dear ones. It's sweet to be here with you. We have a beautiful offering called The Rhythm, where we meet a few times a week and meditate on a live video call for 30 minutes. It's a real portal of beauty to be gathered with you from all over the world like this. The meditations feel empowering, refreshing, and nourishing. And when you join together with others in this way, the force field is always stronger, allowing you to drop deeper into your meditation. You can join them all or drop in whenever you can. I would love to share this time with you and see your smiling face. You can find the link in the show notes. At All That We Are, we want to contribute to a culture of meaning, care, and presence. And we know that wisdom is timeless. And so, in these short, timeless episodes, we bring you something from our archives. This week's Timeless is from a beautiful and powerful conversation we had with SleepyEye in episode 174 on Earth Spirit Movement, the Divine Feminine, and Colonization, entitled Smoke Signals of Change. I do recommend revisiting the whole original episode, which has so many gems. SleepyEye is an Indigenous wisdom keeper. He shares healings and teachings of the Americas and of the yogic tradition in ceremonies, ancient songs, and ways to connect to the elements. He has dedicated his life to the pursuit of finding healing ways of being within all nations of the Americas. Ways of life that would not only benefit his Sisseton, Wahpeton, Dakota, and Tonawanda Seneca people, but ways that can benefit all of life. Learning to live with ancient, sacred teachings that were passed down since the beginning of time in a modern day world has been challenging. But SleepyEye has been able to merge teachings of his elders with worldwide teachings as well. This timeless is called How to Heal What We've Forgotten. We are reminded of the power of prayer, the need to hold both light and dark, and the possibility of weaving the sacred back into the fabric of our daily lives. We hope that hearing just this small part will give you space to contemplate, integrate, and embody what is shared here. Welcome to All That We Are, with me, your host, Amisha Tala Oak. On this show, we explore the weave between activism, the sacred, creativity, and regeneration, the spaces where our inner and outer worlds dance. From healing trauma to nature connection, to new technologies, to ancient wisdom, it's time for us to move beyond silos and into an integrated way of being. Every one of us has ideas and personal experiences to share that can lead us to a more beautiful future. Despite the challenges we face as a global community or the pressures we meet in our daily lives, when we stop and dare to listen, to ask ourselves the big questions, and to share what we are already doing and envisioning, we create the futures of our wildest dreams, and we begin to embody all that we are becoming, and all that is possible.
The problem and the dilemma is that only certain people have access to clean water, to clean food, to clean air, to healthy environments, to a stabilized community with love and compassion around them. And it's only certain people that have that and have access to it. And generally speaking, it's pretty much only the rich, the ones that have a lot of money. It appears that they're the ones that are in control of it. It also appears that they don't even care about anybody else as long as they're taken care of. So I feel that that is the imbalance. That is the tension that is required by all human beings to understand that it is here and it is available, and there is an abundance of food, of water, of clean air. But we're on the verge of losing it all. We're on the verge of reaching the tipping point and a place of no return, that if there isn't actions taking place with probably within the next 10 years, it's going to be too late. We're going to get past this point where there's nothing we can do. It's just going to be a sinking ship.
In ensuring that that is not what happens, what is the importance and the power of prayer in that process?
The importance and the power of prayer is everything in this process. It is the guiding light. It's the fundamental foundation that all human beings have to come to realize and come to understand, that each and every one of us have to have an individual natural alignment within ourselves, within our minds, our hearts, our spirit, our bodies. We have to know that those four aspects of who we are is directly tied into the four elements that composes our being, which is the water, the fire, the air, and the earth. I really firmly believe that it is our duty, like me and you, like literally, like me and you, and then those of us that have this same kind of frame of mind and same kind of sentiments and feelings and same kind of goosebumps that just is in our bodies, and we feel it. Like, we can feel the pain, we feel the imbalance, we feel the hurts and the fears. But there's people like us that we know how to get rid of that. We know how to maintain a balance within ourselves. We know how to find a balance. There's some of us that have learned to break those chains of trauma and to face ourselves to the point where we can reach our highest potential. And it's coming to the point where it's going to take people like us to share it, to teach others, and to extend a helping hand to those that don't know. And I think it's going to take the human race as one consciousness, one spirit, all individual spirits coming together as one, with their minds, their heartfelt feelings, and even physical bodies, putting their hands together and saying, hey, we're going to team up. We know that we're all the same. We know that if we don't do something now, then our babies, our grandbabies, this future 7 generations coming, they're not going to have the same kind of opportunities that we do. And I think it's time that we spread that one thought. Everybody has to have that one thought. And the one thought is to know that we come from the water. We're made of fire. We have a fire inside of us. To know that that process is ever changing. It's a constant change of bringing in the good and the bad and releasing the good and the bad. That we have to be hollow vessels of love and light and goodness and darkness, that evil that comes our way, and we have to be able to process it all and let it flow. When my grandpa said, we have to be like a hollow bone eagle whistle. Our folks, my relatives where I come from, we use a bone within this eagle on a certain part of them, and we use it and we blow it, and it sounds like a whistle, but it replicates the sound of the eagle. And that bone is hollow. They said that's how we need to be in a body that can have everlasting flow of energy, of the good and the bad. And that's what our breath does for us. So if we can understand that, and we can comprehend that we're all come from these elements, then I think that's what's going to give us hope and a better, brighter future.
I love that you shared an emphasis on the good and the bad, the light and the evil, because in spiritual communities, there's often such a focus on the light only. What I see is that the darkness is there, it comes in and it's present, ever present, but it's kind of being ignored, and then it takes hold in ways that people don't even realize, with entities and all kinds of other ways. This is a time when everyone that is on the spiritual path, that is open to healing and is going to be one of these people like you share, that is one of these people like you share, that is holding this prayer, this living prayer for our future, that we have to be better versed in the darkness, not as something to push away, to release, to heal from, but as something to also to hold, to transmute, to not be scared of.
I had the honor and privilege to grow up with wonderful role models, and it started with my mother and father. And one of my first memories that I can ever remember was my parents took me to a ceremony, a Chinupa ceremony, where we utilize a sacred pipe. And some of the terminology, descriptions of it, they'll call it a peace pipe. And, sometimes you see it in the movies, or the way it's depicted is in movies, cartoons, or public media, or popular culture, has typically been very offensive to me, to my people. And even just like if you ever watched the cartoon of Peter Pan, that's like one of the most racist, evil descriptions of my people that exists out there. The way they use that pipe, the way they pray, they have an Indian person, like native, and a big nose, and ugh or hum or what, I don't ho they say or something, or they cover their mouth and like it's so derogatory. It's basically evil. It's a way to bring in evil into this cartoon fantasy world that the world sees. As a little child, they see that, and they have no idea of the evil that's in there. That pipe, that chinupa, it represents a way of life that is beautiful beyond description. I can't even it would take days, weeks, months, years to describe teachings about that chinupa. That it's a way of life. That's a perfect example of the evil. For me, it is. I see it just form in America. And now, well, actually now throughout the world and all the different places I've been, like I'm so surprised that, like here in Bali, the people, they don't even know that we exist. 95% of the Balinese people I've met don't even know that there's natives in America. They know America, they know about that, but they don't even know we exist. And any other places around the world, they don't even know. And so there was a distinct purpose to destroy and to annihilate our people, because they knew the knowledge, they knew the wisdom, they knew the beauty, the purity of our ways, of our teachings, and primarily that pipe, because all natives from the tip of Chile all the way up to the Arctic, we all utilized the pipe, and we all made our prayers, and that pipe was our cell phone. That pipe was our way of connecting to the Wi-Fi, to the internet. And we had digital smoke signals that we sent to each other. We can communicate to, within the spiritual realm, energetic realm, through that pipe. And it was in such a way that was holy, sacred, healing, protective. All the good characteristics of life came through that pipe. That was one of the first things they came to destroy. And they did. They destroyed it in many of the native communities all throughout the Americas, except for one. There's other nations, but our people, Dakotas, they even went as far as to make it illegal for us to pray with our pipe, for us to hold ceremony, for us to sit in a teepee and pray in our own land. Even though the government and all the Europeans and all the immigrants that migrated to the Americas were in search of freedom of religion, in search of living a life free of prosecution for praying, they came over here and they did that same thing to us. So I can see and I can tell that where that evil, where it originated. And even it came way back there, even in Europe and all throughout Western white civilization. There was a time where they disconnected from nature. They disconnected from who they are as water beings, fire beings, air beings, as people of the earth. For me, what I was saying is my first memory with my mom and dad was that, I was like 2, 3 years old. Like, just the first memory I had was we were sitting in a circle. I was with my mother and father, and I'm the oldest of 4 children from my mother and father. And in our language, they call me a chaske. And a chaske is the firstborn son. And for a couple to have a son, a firstborn son, is like a wonderful blessing, because it takes, as a man, we're here to protect the women. And the women aren't, they can of course protect themselves and those kind of things. But to have a man, like, we're the ones out there in the perimeter, making sure there's no evil, making sure there's no big fierce bear coming in, or whatever it is, enemies coming in to raid our camps, whatever it is. The men are warrior guardians for our warrior goddesses. That's kind of the mentality, the way that we lived. So as a young man coming into the world, and a chaske, I can remember sitting in this circle, and I remember seeing old people and old grandmas and grandpas, and then other ages of our relatives, and they're all using that pipe, and they're praying with it. Sometimes they'll sing with it, I'll smoke it, and pretty soon that pipe was getting closer and closer to me. And I just remember my little heart was just started beating really fast. I didn't know what was going. All I knew is what I felt. And I felt like this is so powerful. This is so important. This is so special. I didn't know the word sacred, but I felt it and I sensed it. We can share our teachings, our ancient teachings, and to help heal the world. And for me, I've spent almost I never worked with non-natives. All my life, I stayed in the native community. I did all our ceremonies and healings for only our people. And after all the grandpas graduated and went into the next world, and uncles started leaving, aunties started leaving, and then once a lot of my main teachers left, and all I could do was rely on my allies, and that's the plant and animal kingdoms and the elements. And so through that, they told me, along with my helpers, said that it's time to share with the world. There's people out there they're listening, they're looking, they're searching, trying to find that pathway to healing, trying to find a way to break the personal trauma, the family trauma, the generational trauma, the historical trauma, the ancestral trauma that is sometimes it's just so embedded in us. It's in our DNA, it's in our bones, it's in our blood. And we can heal those different traumas in certain ways, certain levels. And we have a word we share. The first part of the word is, I'm realizing it's being heard all over the world and people use it. And maybe they never heard an explanation of it, but this one word covers so many emotions, so many thoughts. And it can mean hello, it can mean goodbye, it can mean that's good, it can mean amen, it can mean I'm sad, it can mean I'm happy, it can just however you use it. And so they say aho. And then the other word that goes with it is this word describes it describes it to all our relations, not just like our bloodline and our own relatives, but all of them, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the water, even just sitting right here next to this wooden frame right here. This is alive. It's not just some piece of wood and dead and they formed it into this. No, there's a spiritual essence in it. And once you can start understanding that and realizing that we have relatives all around us, and it's time that we lock hands and we extend it out to our mother. In Dakota, we say Ina, I-N-A, from mother. And so within this earth spirit movement, we got to stand up for our mother earth, all our mothers, the woman nation. And in there is the true essence of healing. In there is the true essence of standing into our higher being, our higher power, to bring forth that heart nation, that bring forth a healing. And then in there, I-N-A, we have to individually, naturally align. I-N-A. Once we do that, we individually, naturally align, then we can help to strengthen indigenous nations alliances with all creations, all of life. So there's a word we say, we're formulating this earth spirit movement in honor of Ina, our mother. And you have to individually, naturally align. And then once you do that, you can strengthen indigenous nations alliances on behalf of all our relatives. So we say this word, aho mitakiase. And when you say aho mitakiase, it's like you're saying a blessing on all our relations, all our relatives. So just want to say aho mitakiase. Wopura. Thank you, Yahweh.
Thank you for listening. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and it has sparked some inspiration and creativity in you. This is one of our timeless editions, a short and powerful piece of wisdom for you to contemplate, integrate, and embody. We have an archive of over 200 epics, long, deep conversations for you to explore, share, and enjoy. We keep this podcast advertising free as we don't want to sell you things that you don't need. This is made possible by you supporting our work as a member of Presence Collective, a patron, or through joining our offerings. You can also support us by sharing this with those that you love. Can you send it to 10 people who you know will find it powerful? This podcast is made by an all-female global team. You can explore our world at allthatweare.org and find your ways to take part. All That We Are celebrates all that we are already and the untapped potential that lives inside us. We exist to offer a space of sanctuary in the ever-increasing chaos, a place where you can come and be in good company, a place where you can learn, unlearn, and connect to your own wisdom. And know that in each and every moment, all that we are is here.